Okay, so those are the five different thinking styles. And this was created by, I don't remember who the person was that first like coined this, but it's been a lot of research done on the different ways that people like synthesize information, the way that they generate ideas, the way that they express creativity, and it has opened up the definition of what creativity means. Okay, so I'm going to explain generally what each one means, and then I will get into further detail on each of them in the series. Okay, so the first one that we're going to talk about is the divergent thinker. Okay. Divergent thinking is the person that is the idea generator. So if you've ever met someone, or if you are someone who is like, you are able to just come up with ideas like almost like it's nothing, like you're always coming up with something new, a new approach to things, and you're even the person that might think a little bit outside the box. Like if there's any person who fit that thinking process, it would be the divergent thinkers. And so they like to see all the different possibilities and to chart different paths with those things, with those ideas, in order to come up with new solutions, which is creativity, creating solutions, new solutions. And so you're really big on breaking outside of the norm, thinking past constraints. And that's actually a strength of yours because you're able to see things outside of how we've typically done them, how we usually do them. And as I'm talking about these, y'all, let me know if this sounds like you. Okay. Let me know if there's even like a piece of it, just say, "Ooh, that mean that's me," or "I feel like I do that." Or if you don't, then you can definitely tell me, "Nah, I ain't sound like me." I'll let y'all know right now, divergent thinking is not high on my list. It's not high on my list. And I think that that's also why I don't typically enjoy the styles of content where you're doing a bunch of different ways to style one thing. That actually takes a lot of energy for me. It takes a lot of effort because my thinking is more like I just do the stuff that I'm inspired to do. And coming up with a bunch of ideas off the dome is not typically how my brain functions. Like it's not my go-to. So for me, having someone who is a divergent thinker would be a benefit because then they can come up with ideas and new paths that support my inspirational thinking. But it's like naturally is not my strong suit. So your creativity is through fluency, flexibility, and your imagination, and your mind leaps to different possibilities and without worrying about whether or not it's feasible. Like delusion is you live in delusion. Like it's like I think we can do this. I don't care if we have never flown in the history of mankind. I feel like we can figure something out. And honestly, that's probably the people who have created the stuff that we're like, how did you even discover that? Or how did you create that? That's probably there's probably a lot of inventors that are divergent thinkers. I would have to do a study on that and see, but I feel like it's definitely a lot of inventors that would fit that. So, idea divergent thinking, idea generator. Okay? That's how you're going to remember that. Now, the next one is the lateral thinker. Now, lateral and divergent are kind of similar, but the biggest difference, if I had to illustrate the difference, divergent thinkers are into taking as many possibilities as possible, right? Like they thrive on having lots of options. The lateral thinker is thinking about how can we do what we've been doing differently. So like how can we like break the pattern? So the pattern breaker. They are always thinking about how can we like break out of like the habitual patterns and taking a different route. So like instead of like, following wherever the GPS is telling you, oh, what would happen if I take this exit here and go this way, then go up this street and go down this way? I wonder if that would get me to that route faster. Or maybe I'll find a new place to go to eat that is better than the place that I was going to go to if I just took the highway straight down, right? Like that's how they're thinking. And so they're the ones that are going to have a very like surprising angle, or they're going to have a unique approach to explaining things. And so they can typically be the ones that are more provocative. They're the ones who may be a little more direct, or like they may feel more direct, or even maybe a little abrasive, but it's really because they're in their minds, they're noticing that something can be done differently, and they're bringing a new perspective and a fresh twist to the situation. And so it really is about shifting and thinking outside of what is typically done, and what like the conventional what conventional wisdom would tell you or dictate that you do. So lateral thinkers are the pattern breakers. Okay, so we've done divergent, we've done lateral. All right, are y'all ready for the next one? If you are, you can put ready in the chat. I feel like I've just been powering through these, but I think I can take a breath. And we're going to talk about the next one. Now, this next one, though, this next one is the one that is, this next one is the one that I feel most people think about when they think about creatives. So this one is going to be the one that probably makes the most sense. But even when it comes to aesthetic thinkers, oh, I said the name already. Now you know. And when it comes to aesthetic thinkers, I feel like there are certain things that aren't they're not given the respect that I feel like they deserve at times. And I'll leave it there. I'll explain that when I talk about aesthetic thinkers when they have their video. But I strongly believe that people put aesthetic thinkers into a box. Okay. And so, but when you think about creativity, I feel like that's what people think about. I see you're ready. Okay. So, aesthetic thinkers are the harmonizers. So, when you think about aesthetic thinkers, you think about harmony. And even when you think about uh, art, or when you think about design and the concepts within design, most times all that you're trying to do is to create harmony. So, even when, for instance, when we talk about body types, and the idea is for you to create balance. That's the motivation for it. There's other things too. I've talked about my thoughts and feelings on body types, but we won't get into that today. But the idea is to create balance, harmony, the yin and the yang. And so anytime anything that an artist is doing, anything that a creative is doing, they're trying to find the harmony and the beauty in things. Okay? So, with that in mind, create they think aesthetic thinkers think through harmony, through beauty, and through aesthetic coherence. So having things come together in a way that makes sense, that is beautiful. And this can be in the traditional sense of design and art, but this can also be still in that same vein, but like outside of what you would typically think about. Like aesthetic thinkers could be event planners, or aesthetic thinkers can be set designers, or aesthetic thinkers could be graphic designers. Like they it can still have that same concept. There was another idea that I wanted to share that goes outside of that, but I feel like those are all probably typical ones. But we'll keep moving forward. But their goal is to bring harmony. And so I feel like even when it comes to the feeling that aesthetic thinkers can bring to the table, it is like how do we work together? how do we come together and take the different things that we do well, or this person is good at this and this person brings this and this personality is like this, how do we bring them together in a way that's harmonious? So they're really tuned into the feel of things, the atmosphere, the overall like vibe of what it is that is being created. That's their strong suit. And so they value things that have emotional resonance, the tone, making sure that the tone of what it is you're portraying is accurate, things that are elegant, things that are balanced, and things that just feel good to be in or feel good to experience. And so that can be through the visuals, that can be through the sound. I mean, even like an audio engineer can be an aesthetic thinker, because again, they're thinking about how does the speaker sound? What are the sounds that we need to add to add the ambiance to it? You know, like they're those are things they're still thinking about. So it's not even just like, does this work, but does this fit the essence of what we're trying to convey? Reminds me of the hedonist a little bit. I can see that. I can see that. Yeah, I can definitely see that. Yep, yep. And you know what? And that makes me think too about what I was saying in the beginning, that I feel like they are overlooked, and sometimes like taken kind of taken for granted, but that's like the story of the arts in general, you know? Am I right? I feel like that's it's a tale as old as time. Like the arts they stay playing in the art space. So that's the aesthetic thinker, y'all. Aesthetics harmonizer, harmony. That's the aesthetic thinker. Okay. So are we ready for the next one? This next one, I love this one because I feel like this is the one out of all of the thinking types, this is the one that probably is the least likely to consider themselves creative. I think that they are the least likely to consider themselves creative because of what they tend to focus on, but they are actually very creative. They just don't realize that what they're doing is creativity. So, are y'all ready? I feel like I keep coming up with new things that I wish I would have thought to do in the beginning. But we're gonna do a little drum roll. Systems thinking. Okay. Systems thinking, or the architect. Yeah, thank you, Kayla. Thank you for the drums. I'm really appreciating this interaction. So, systems thinkers are the people who are connecting the pieces and making it make sense. Okay. They're the ones that are like, okay, let's move this here, dot the I, cross the T. Like they're the ones that's figuring out how things flow, which really does lean into harmony a little bit too, like the aesthetic thinker. But they're not drawn to the beauty of it. They're drawn to, how does this make sense with this, make sense with this, and like how does it all go together? So they're really good at identifying the patterns. They're good at realizing how things are interdependent and interconnected, and being able to see the structure, beneath the surface. Like they're able to go a little bit deeper to see, okay, how do we support this? Like, you want to put this event together. What are the logistics of this event? How do we map this out so that this event that you want to have can happen? That's the systems thinkers. And systems thinkers are really the ones that are going to help the things that we want to do get executed. Like they're the ones that's like, out of all of them, I really feel like they're the ones that's like, okay, how do we get this done? And what does this mean in the long run? What does this mean for what it is that we're building? And so they're really like, they almost I won't call them that. We're gonna stick with the architect for now. But they are really like they're the ones like when we talked about that structure, when I was talking about that structure earlier, they're the ones that's helping with the structure. They're the ones that's helping to make it make sense. And I feel like it's like the sign, the thinking style that makes it concrete. You know what I'm saying? So they look for the coherence, they look for the loops, and they're thinking like big picture. How does this all flow and work together? And how does this piece shape this piece to this piece? That's what they're thinking. And so it's about being able to integrate things. It's about being able to see how things form together and transforming it into something by being able to recognize the relationships and the correlations. And so systems thinking, I told y'all that is my secondary. And it's actually pretty high. I won't say it's like I won't say it's close, but it is pretty high as my secondary. And when I think about the way that my brain works sometimes when I have an idea, oftentimes will go to the systems thinking first because the systems makes me feel safe. Like it makes it feel like whatever it is that I'm doing, it makes me feel responsible. Like, okay, I have this idea, this is how I execute it. Right. And so sometimes it can be the thing that I lean to before inspiration. And it's weird because like how can you build it if you don't have the inspiration? But sometimes I won't really like sit with a thing and allow it to form a little bit more before I start to try to make it make sense. So that's a whole other thing. This is not about me though. This is about systems thinking. So if you are somebody who is able to connect the dots, you recognize the patterns, you know how things relate to one another, then you are possibly a systems thinker. All right. And our final thinking type, which is my personal favorite because I'm being biased right now. Our final thinking type is inspirational thinking, aka the visionary. Yes. Now listen, y'all, listen. If you're not an inspirational thinker, it's okay. You be the thinker that you are. I'm giving this disclaimer because I might have a little bit more energy for inspirational, but I promise it's only because it's mine. It's not because one way of thinking is better than the other. I promise you it's not. We need every thinking style that there is. We need all of the thinking types to be able to really make change in the world. So I'm gonna make sure I put that out there. All right. Now, with all that being said, inspirational thinkers come to the front of the class. Okay. So, inspirational thinkers are the ones that are intuitive. They are often the ones that don't think traditionally or even in order. And when I say they don't think in order, I feel like it's literally like it reminds me of like That's So Raven. I reference That's So Raven a lot. It was a very instrumental part of my childhood. And so the way that it's almost like you're like forward thinking, but you're not always thinking about what it takes to get there. You just know what it looks like to be there. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not thinking in steps of, you're not constrained by time or even by, sorry y'all, or even by the order in which things are supposed to occur, right? And so your insights rise from reflections, from things that just resonate with you deeply, or they're things that just kind of like they just kind of hit you, like literally it's like inspiration. This is like hits you, and it doesn't necessarily have a rhyme or reason to it. It just is, if that makes sense. And so you're able to really tap into this when you lean into your imagination, when you learn to trust your intuition, and when you are allowing yourself to be motivated by the things that light you up, like the things that really speak to you. Because one of the most important things about inspirational thinking is that it has to have meaning. It literally, like, it has to mean something, or I don't care. I don't want to do it. And it may sound a little like high and mighty, but it really is just because it is, you depend on that to motivate you, to drive you. And so you're really drawn by things making sense. Like, it has to have meaning. And even sometimes I'll catch myself uh at, like, if somebody gives me a suggestion for something, I will catch myself like sitting and thinking. I'm like, but does this do this? And is this leading to this? And then what does that mean for this? And like, how does that connect to what I'm already doing? And who is that benefiting? So there's always a lot of things kind of like, going on in my head because of the way that I'm wired, the way that I think. And so that quiet sense of direction often comes before the explanation. Like, you may not get the explanation till we do it. Like, you may not know why until it happens. And so it really, this thinking style really depends, it really emphasizes rather the depth and things having purpose and things resonating with you emotionally. And so you may have a lot of similarities to an aesthetic thinker. But the biggest difference between aesthetic thinkers and inspirational thinkers is that you're not motivated necessarily by things being harmonious or the beauty of things. You're connected to the deeper meaning. And even when it comes to the work that I do and the things that I enjoy doing, it's absolutely important to, be pretty. I like dressing up. I like looking good. Aesthetics do mean something to me. However, even when it comes to styling people, I'm always trying to tap inward first. Like, I'm going to go inward before it is expressed outwardly. And that's just been the way that I'm wired. Like, that's the way that I have to do it, because that's the way that I reason with things, and that's the way that I come to the conclusions that I do. So that is how you are wired as well, if you are an inspirational thinker. And one of the things that I've had to allow to really resonate with me is that this way of thinking doesn't mean that I'm a flaky person. It doesn't mean that I'm flighty. It doesn't mean that I'm unfocused, but it does mean that I have to learn how to work with it and to appreciate it, because it does have a purpose, it does have meaning. You're not going to be able to build anything of substance without a visionary. Because what are you building, and what are you building it for? Like, I would like to think about it almost like being like the heart of the operation. Like, they're the ones that's going to help you remember why we're doing this, what this means, who this is impacting, what this is all for. Like, the really, like, the like connecting to the deeper meaning of it, because those are the things that's going to help create longevity. So if you are an inspirational thinker, you are a special person. I would know. But I also want you to know that it can come with its challenges, and it may not always feel special. And so all of the different thinking styles, though, between the inspirational, the systems, the aesthetic thinking, divergent, lateral thinking, all of those thinking styles have a critical role to play in the overall grand scheme of creativity and what we are able to create and push forward, and the solutions that we are able to provide collectively, not even just in our communities, but around the world. Like, understanding what those strengths are is what's going to really help you to push these agendas forward. And not only recognizing yours, but also recognizing the thinking styles that you need. Like, what kind of thinker do you need to support you? What kind of thinker do you need to collaborate with? How can you create a team where everybody's thinking style is different, so that you can come up with the most incredible, groundbreaking, revolutionary things, because now you have all these different thinkers and these different perspectives coming together for a common goal. And so when I was reading these and I was looking at each of them, I could see the value and the importance of every single thinker. And then immediately after that, I started to think about how so many people don't realize that they don't, like, you don't even know what your thinking style is. You don't even know how to tap into the thing that makes you powerful. And the thing that is so dope about creativity in general is that it is an inexhaustible resource. And if it's ever felt like it was finite, it's because you haven't tapped into your strengths. You haven't tapped into the thing that makes you shine, the places and the areas and the ways that your brain works and what it's able to provide. Because once you do, it literally is endless. Like, you're never going to stop. And it's one of the things, like, when you know it, like, this is what I do, this is just what I do. Like, I can wake up and I can do this over and over and over and over, because this is how I'm wired, this is how I'm designed. And so I wish that there was a correlation or a metaphor that I could use to really bring that point home. Maybe it'll come to me as I continue the series, but hopefully you're at least enticed. Like, I just, like, wet your whistle a little bit, and you're sitting here and you're thinking, okay, how do I figure out what my creative thinking style is? Like, how do I tap into this? How do I not only learn this, but how do I use this to my advantage? What does this mean for my creativity? What does this mean for me monetizing it? What does this mean for my business? What does this mean for my platforms? This All of these things can start to be answered once you understand it. And so here's what I will say. If you are curious right now and you want to know what your creative thinking style is, I will be going through the assessment with you during Selling Without Selling Out. That is actually one of the things that I'm adding into it, because I'm realizing how important that is to know. And while you can get a good idea just by listening to the descriptions, the quiz gives you a sure answer on who you are, what your thinking styles are, and it also helps you to have like a back and forth, and you can ask questions and you can be like, What does this mean for what kind of platform should I be on? What should my content strategy look like for blah, blah, blah? Like, you can literally get as specific as you want to, and you can get answers that are catered to your thinking style. You can get business ideas, content strategy. You can even get stuff that has nothing to do with business. You could get workout routine, uh, what else, like how, like, style tips, like how you might dress, what type of events you might be interested in going to because of your thinking style, what kind of hobbies. It literally opens up the door to so many different ways for you to learn yourself and learn who you are and learn how to work with it and appreciate it, and also really take it to your advantage and learn how to use it to collaborate with others. And so there's so many different ways that I don't even know yet that you can use it, but it just excites me to know that there are so many possibilities just by knowing this thing. It's like it unlocks this door to so much that you didn't even realize you didn't have access to yet. And so if you want to learn yours, I will be, when I give the update on where to go to secure your spot for Selling Without Selling Out. If this interests you, do not miss that opportunity. Okay. The quiz that I'm referring to, the creative thinking style profile quiz, it is not something that I have opened up to the public. So you only have access to it either by having me go through it with you one on one. So if you are a client, we can do it one on one, or through the workshop. Those are the only two ways that it's available right now. So if you don't want to just be guessing it and you want a short answer, then that's going to be what you should be doing. And oh, I'm just excited because I know that it's going to give so much clarity and it's going to alleviate so many people and it's going to eliminate options that don't even make sense for you. Like, so, like, the process of elimination, but you don't, it's not a long process. It's just a nope. I'm good on that. That doesn't really make sense for me. So I can't wait, y'all. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Yes, Kayla has gone through her creative thinking style profile with me. We've created her profile and we learned that she and I have the exact same creative thinking style. We're inspirational and systems thinkers. So, and if y'all see us together, it makes sense. It makes sense. Even though the way that we express it is still our own, like we still have our own twist to it, but you can see the similarities for sure. Yeah, it's a fun time. It's a fun time with my twin. So yeah, y'all, I actually will be. I think that one of the days I should probably write this down somewhere. One of the days I will do a update. No, not an update. I will post a short clip. I can do that today. I'm gonna post a short clip of what it looks like to get your creative thinking style done, to get the profile created so that you can see for yourself how out the gate, just getting the answer is already enough to make you go, wow, this is, I feel like I got so much relief and I got so much clarity in this call just from this, just from knowing this and having this information. So I'm really looking forward to being able to walk more people through it. And until then, if you still want to learn about the creative thinking styles, which I'm sure you do, then I will be doing them in a series. I believe that right now they're going to probably be once a week. So I'll do a new style each week and kind of pace myself. And if I decide that I want to pick up the pace and do more of them, then I might. We'll see how I feel. But I think that I can definitely say at least once a week. So each week it'll be a new thinking style you'll get to learn about. And I've already come up with what I think I'm gonna do to show you what the creative thinking styles look like in action. So I'm excited. I'm excited, y'all. I hope you are too. And outside of that, I think that's everything. I had so much fun. I missed y'all. I am so sorry that I was gone for as long as I was, but I will be back on Thursdays around 2ish Eastern time. So we'll be back regularly scheduled programming.